Good evening and welcome to the Channel Studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. The leader of the far-right Proud Boys group has been arrested in Washington, D.C. Enrique Tarrio faces misdemeanor destruction of property charges for allegedly burning a Black Lives Matter flag last month. Mr. Tarrio and his group, which have a history of street violence, have vocally supported President Trump's efforts to overturn the election results. Protests by the Proud Boys and other groups are expected to occur on Tuesday and Wednesday. Gulf leaders are meeting in Saudi Arabia for their annual summit after a resolution to the bitter dispute with Qatar seems to be within reach. Saudi Arabia has announced the reopening of land borders with Qatar after nearly 3.5 years. The kingdom, with Egypt, the United Arab Emirates and Bahrain, have cut diplomatic and trade ties and have imposed a land, sea and air blockade on the Gulf state in mid-2017. The bloc has accused Doha of supporting terrorist groups and being too close to Iran. These allegations have been consistently denied by Qatar. The Central African Republic President Faustin Archange Touadéra has won re-election. Mr. Touadéra has won a second term with 53% of the votes. The election and its aftermath, however, have been marked by violence as rebel groups have attempted to take over the city of Bangassou ahead of results being announced. The president has been in office since 2016, but has so far struggled to control the armed militias. Mr. Touadéra has blamed much of the electoral unrest on the former president François Bozizé, whose candidacy has been denied by the country's top court. South Korea is planning to send a delegation to Tehran to seek the release of the oil tanker seized by Iranian forces. On Sunday, Iran seized a South Korean tanker transporting ethanol in the Straits of Hormuz while traveling from Saudi Arabia to the United Arab Emirates over pollution violations. The move seems to have come in retaliation after $7 billion in Iranian funds were frozen in Korean banks due to sanctions imposed by the United States. Australia's Prime Minister has said that Julian Assange is free to return home if the US extradition bill fails in the British courts. On Monday, a UK judge blocked Mr. Assange's extradition to the US, citing mental health concerns. The WikiLeaks founder has been indicted in 2019 on 17 counts of violation and Espionage Act and faces up to 175 years in a US jail over the charges. Lawyers for the US government have said they will appeal the decision. This means the case could go all the way to the British Supreme Court, a process that could take up to 3 years. Hundreds of employees at Google and its parent company Alphabet have formed a union. The move represents the biggest and most organised challenge yet to the company's executive leadership. The union's formation has come amid years of rising employee tensions over the company's workplace practices and operational decisions, such as Google's handling of a sexual misconduct claim, which resulted in a massive employee protest last year. And finally, Russia has officially ended the ban on new female employees at the wheel of underground trains. The first 12 women have joined the ranks of Moscow metro drivers after Russia's Ministry of Labour made changes to the country's legislation. The job was previously listed among hard jobs with harmful or dangerous conditions, which could not be filled by women. This is considered a major victory for women in the country, as they can now be employed as tractor drivers and long-haul truckers. Moscow Metro is one of the most heavily travelled subway systems in the world, transporting about 9 million people every day. And that's your international news around the world in 5. And now back to the Channel Studios in Lagos.